Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
Welcome back to the Larry Yates' As Is show. I'm kind of stumbling here because I'm a little bit excited here. I got a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful young lady that's sitting here with us today, and I think you're going to enjoy what she has to say and this wonderful play that she's going to be working with here. And so let me tell you a little bit about how I'm feeling at this point. And first of all, I hope everybody's good, healthy, all of that good stuff, making lots of money, lots of good health out there. I know everybody say, well, health is first. I get it. But hey, I still want you to make a lot of money, because to make a lot of money, you might call here and sponsor the Larry Yates As Is show. So had to throw that out there at you. Anyway, hey, last night was the first Democratic debate last night. And, you know, before I move on to our guest today, I tell you a little bit how I feel about that. I was really kind of on the fence about who I thought was going to be the best chance, had the best chance at winning this presidential thing last night. And I tell you, I because of my liberal mindedness, I do like Bernie Sanders. The man is absolutely brilliant. But you know, the way I end my show every day, every time we do a show, is a nation can rise no higher than it elevates this woman. And I truly believe last night that what would it be called? Madam President. I think we have our first Madam President. Hillary Clinton looked really, really good. I think she looked very presidential. She was very strong. And I got a feeling I'm going to be pulling for Miss Clinton this time, and unless she slip up and do something absolutely crazy. Now, I speak my mind here, you know. So if anybody got a chance to get this to Hillary, tell Hillary to call Larry Yates As Is, and we're gonna help her win this thing, because we cannot afford to let the Republicans get in there. Now, I have conservative ways, I have Democratic ways, and a whole bit. But this is not conservative that is running on the other side. That's absolute madness. And so you guys think about that, because, and before I move on, and the reason I say this is so important, because I'm going to make this a pretty short beginning here. The reason it's so important is that, think about the Supreme Court, everybody. Go and look and see what the Supreme Court is doing. And that is our biggest boogeyman in the political system out here now, along with all the money that's coming in because of the Supreme Court with the Citizens United. So we have to be careful and getting the right president in there over the next 4 to 8 years, because we're going to have some retirement in the Supreme Court, and the president that's in place to pick the next Supreme Court judge is going to be very, very important to the freedom and the direction that this country is going to go in over the next 30, 40, 50 years. Anyway, having said that, and we know how they talk about women rights. I mean, anytime, and the reason I think it's not just it's time for a woman to be president. I just think we got smart women that we need them to step up to the plate and just take control of this, because men have screwed it up terribly. And I just think a nation needs strong women. I know women may say, well, we carry the load of the family. And I know you do. And I can't apologize for it, but you do. But what I do know is that we need strong women to step up to the plate and help guide this country. And we men in our family in a direction before we just run the bus completely off the tracks. Anyway, and when you look at the other party, you look at them wanting to shut the government down because of women care, women medical. It's almost unbelievable that they want to govern women's body. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Larry Yates? I'm a smart dude, I get that. But I don't qualify to govern a woman's body, what she should do, how she should think, and then be a part of that pay her less money. I mean, this is madness on the other side. And I think that will lead into the conversation that I'm about to have with, we're going to get, engineer, you got to give us some applause on this. So I want to welcome a young lady, and I'm just going to see how all of this may tie in to the beginning of the show. And this is a conversation about the girls, and written and produced and starred in. And here's my guest, Miss. I have to keep my paper, and now I'm see, I got her name down here. You guys know I mess her name up real bad, but it's Miss Sonia Jackson. Welcome to the Larry Yates Show, Sonia.
Hi, Larry.
What about the hand clap? Did we get some applause here? I can't hear that. We got to make sure, because this young, and I know this young lady from a distance. I've watched her. She don't know that I was watching her, because I was watching her from the point of view. I watched how strong she was in certain occasions and in certain environment that we interacted in, and then so you stand back, you watch a person and say, wait a minute, that's a powerful sister there. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that one day I would be interviewing you on the show. So welcome to the show, Sonia. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for the compliment. And about myself, let's see. Well, I started off in business, so theater and acting was not originally a part of my plan.
Really?
I started off in business, and I was in human resources for years, and in management and in aerospace at that.
You, management and aerospace?
Hey, management.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Brains, women power. Come on, go ahead.
Yeah, so at some point in time, I was sitting in my office, and I had a conversation with the vice president and had a realization that in order to break through the ceiling where I was of the old boys club, it was going to require quite a bit of work on my part. And I didn't mind doing that work, and I was doing that work actually already. And then something came up. Someone invited me to this workshop, and all of these actors were there, and producers and directors, and they were talking about what they were doing. I was there in the capacity of business to work towards getting my goals. And when I was sitting there listening to all these people talking about their projects and what they were doing, the excitement that I was feeling, it felt like there was something in me that was supposed to be doing that. And so I actually, I started off by taking a peek at how that would work for me, because my parents actually had put me in dance classes.
Oh, really?
When I was a child.
Oh, okay.
So I had performed and did dance and did things like that, but I literally went and started doing stand-up.
Get out of here.
And found out that I loved it.
See, that's nerve, because I don't have the nerve. I can get up and do speeches, and I can do all of that, but the attempt for me to attempt comedy, oh my goodness, has absolutely no way. But you know what? A lot of people say, well, I got bit by the entertainment bug, or bit by the performance bug, but I like to say you got bit by the expression bug.
Yes.
You get a chance to express yourself. I have never had a corporate job, but being in the setting, and I've actually been a consultant to many corporate projects, and there's a limit of expression when you are in that box. And then when you step out there on the stage, and you step out there in the world of art and music and dance, and so it's not bit by an entertainment bug. I think people water it. It takes away from how precious it is, but it's like an expression bug, you know.
It really is. It really is, because then you're not limited in
Right.
a particular box of the type of expression that you do. Because actually, not that long ago, I just started painting. I used to sew. I made clothes. I still do, and design and things like that. But so even with the acting, this play came about because I was expressing myself. And in a moment of whatever it was I was doing the Vagina Monologues. We were waiting for the audience because the parking was atrocious. and I had this thought, well, you know, we need to talk about the girls.
Okay.
Because there is so much that takes place around the girls.
Now, did you the Vagina monologue?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I never saw it, and I was afraid to even pronounce the name of. I was afraid to even.
I noticed you just stumbled over it.
Yes, I still stumble over it because I'm like, am I saying something politically incorrect here? You know, CP is a big part of the American culture now, being politically correct,
Mm-hmm.
and so that inspire you to do your own play, or that?
Yeah, it did. I loved the Vagina Monologues. It's a very powerful play because what it does is it talks about women's situations with their bodies. And you were saying earlier about, you know, how can we decide about somebody else's body? And the thing that I realized is that about women's breasts, there's so much that happens around them. There's so much that takes place.
So hold on. You know what? Let's do this. If you don't mind, let's lead the audience into this conversation about the girls. Where did that title come from, and how did it end up being about the breasts?
Okay, well, the title came from conversations that I was having with women. A lot of the stories are mine, and a lot of the stories belong to people that I know. And then I did interviews with women to find out and ask them questions about the breast, because I have not had all the experiences that the breasts cover. And if you can see mine, I don't know, but I have a limited amount of exposure or coverage, you know, so to speak. So I needed to get other women's perspectives.
Okay.
And so when I started doing it, I also asked people that I was talking to, what, you know, given these stories that I'm putting together, what would you think we should call them? What would you want to call them? And there were all sorts of names that came up, like Tales of Two Titties and
now, now look here, look, audience, you guys got to work with me here.
Yeah,
you know,
yes.
if old Yates was to say something
but
that's
I'm
not
saying
politically correct, because I'm gonna have to repeat some of the stuff, but titties.
Yes.
It's just.
So instead, what I looked at, one of the things for me is, I truly believe that all women, regardless of the job or the things that you do, the activities you participate in, all women are elegant. And sometimes they know it, and sometimes they don't. And so the truth was, I wanted it to be conversations about the girls because it's fun, and it is conversations that we're having about ourselves, about our friends, about things that we've seen and things that we know.
Give us an example of the conversation about the breasts.
Okay. So I have a piece called A Rose, which, of course, we know by any other name is still a rose. So I asked women what they'd heard breasts called before. And then you have the prerequisite standard of boobs, boobies, tits, titties, all of that kind of stuff. And then you have a whole slew of other names. So the girls, over the shoulder, boulders, mounds of vanilla ice cream or chocolate, depending on who you're talking to, aspirins on an ironing board.
Oh my God, I've heard
cupcakes.
Everything from Hershey's Kiss.
Yeah, so we have a piece that is called the rose, and we go through the various names that we've heard breasts called before. And we have a number of pieces. We have pieces about the good stuff, not so good stuff. And some of the good stuff is, tell me what excites your breasts. And then we have a piece called "Tell Me About Nipples." And
look, you guys got to be patient with me here. When we were talking about, we started out with talking about the vagina monologue, and then we're talking about nipples, and I never thought I'd get to talk about that in a very, very special way. But I really appreciate the way you're approaching the topic, because it's a fun topic, and I'm sure that to women it's very serious.
Yes.
And so I want to be able to honor the seriousness and the fun with it. And please feel free to correct me if I step across any kind of line in this conversation, because I want to honor women. Let me ask you a question. We as men, and when I say we as men, because I've heard conversations about it, so I'm not speaking for all men.
Right.
And women, their identity that comes with breasts, and where do you have a sense of that come from? I don't really have a sense of where that come from. I have ideas, but I'm a man, so I don't want to speak for a woman. And
we talk about that in the play, because it has been ingrained in a sense. And the ideas come sometimes just from advertising. They are handed down. They have been handed down from which particular ad campaign, one never knows. Yeah. But and as television has gotten more prevalent, as the internet has gotten more prevalent, it scares me to think that there are young girls, 18 and 19, that their parents are giving them boob jobs.
Those breast implants.
Because for graduation, and things like that.
That's scary, is it not? Yeah. I mean, me as a man, me as a father, until a child or a young lady can make that decision for herself, become an adult, to have a parent to make that decision before the child becomes an adult is, how do you feel about that?
The child is saying they want it, and the parent is saying, okay, you can have it. And that's like, to me, giving too much candy to a baby. Just because she's asked doesn't mean you have to do that.
There's some parental guidance.
Let's have some guidance. There's the thing that I find often, because I don't have a issue about having a breast enhancement or not having one. I think everybody has to make that decision for themselves, and it's based on their own circumstances. So, and we actually have a little piece about that.
Because forgive me, the only reason I'm chopping a little bit because of sake of time, I know how quick this hour is gonna shoot by. But let me ask you some questions, because of the guys that's watching this, and although it's a lot of fun, I know there's some seriousness here. I was, the father of 2 girls, and I remember talking to them, and I was one of those fathers that had the conversation with my girls as they began to develop breasts, and that was a very sensitive time for a young girl.
Yeah, and thank you for knowing that.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have a piece called Blooming, and what happens often is no one's really prepared for getting their breast, for it coming up, and often men don't realize the changes that we're going through, because it's not just all of a sudden. It's physicalized. There's also hormonal changes that are taking place in our body. So all sorts of things that are happening all at the same time. And to get a physical change in your body so dramatically, to the point where little boys, men, teenagers, everybody has changed their focus from just talking to you to talking to your chest,
I know.
And having that, and I so appreciate you're having that kind of a sensitive conversation with your daughter, and it's always one of those things that we want to have men have that sensitive conversation with their sons about how they treat women, because that's the beginning of it. And often we consider it bullying. You know, when the teasing, people say, oh, it's just teasing, they're just having fun. But in some regards, it comes across as bullying for us.
Because so much of the self-esteem of a young girl can build or even sometimes be crushed at that point.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Her self-esteem is that's so valuable towards her future.
It
and
is.
How that particular time in the young girl's life, so much can ride on how that is bridged between the starting of the development, because they get teased about it and they get teased about it until I don't know about the play. I'm just only going by experience and of talking to and having daughters that now once they become full blossom or bloom, then it's a different ball game. And if they become fully developed, that's a different ballgame. But during the process of it, it can be very embarrassing for a young girl at the same time.
Yeah, because all the things are happening at the same time. So you are getting a bra, you're getting breast, you have to learn how to wear that bra and how to fit it properly, and if it got fit properly or not, and if it comes up, if it doesn't fit, you're adjusting it, all of those sorts of things. And you're all doing it in the public. See, when a young man changes, the only thing that happens in the public sense is the changing of the voice. Yes, they get bigger. That makes sense. Yes. They get bigger, they get a little stronger, but and they have that kind of a change that goes on. But it's an overall growth of the same thing that they always were.
Right.
But with women, there is a completely new part of our body that shows up differently. And we're getting used to it, and then the whole world is getting used to it with us.
I got to tell you an experience I had with my daughter, Destiny. She'd kill me if I said this, but
you shouldn't have said her name.
I'm your pops. So my daughter, and I actually had to talk with both my daughters through it. I was really, really hands-on. Mm-hmm. And I talked to my daughters about their periods and that administration, that whole process. So by the time it happened, when my daughter was in school and it did happen, the teacher wanted to meet me because they were shocked that when she said, well, she was so prepared. Mm-hmm. And they asked her, well, who prepared you? She said, my dad, because I studied and I was trying to be the best father I could be. But when she started to develop a little bit, so it comes a time when a father know that, wait a minute, I can no longer see you with your shirt off or your blouse off. So I was the one who made that decision. I stopped that bridge from her being my little girl to
a young lady.
But a situation that forced me to have the conversation with her is that I know my little baby is developing now. And I looked, and we was driving down, we was in Seal Beach somewhere, and there was a billboard sign, and it said something about foreplay. Mm-hmm. My daughter looked at me and she said, Daddy, what is foreplay? Oh my God, now I'm going to have this conversation because it's the talk. And it most definitely was going to include talking about her breasts.
It has to. It has to. Otherwise,
we got through that. But go ahead, pick up on it. I just thought I'd share that.
No, that's really important. And I so appreciate you're even bringing this up, because we've done this with a couple of things. We have a Q&A after the show. And we do it so that people can air some of the things that have come up for them in the discussion. And one of the things that always comes up is that kind of a thing, is men having talks with their daughters and how to do it. And so we've kind of created a platform that we were going to pursue of doing particular segments and then having a Q&A and doing a whole program for men only, so that they could find out how to talk to their daughters and how to have those conversations with their daughters. But yes, it's important I have some people who who go, well, I can't bring how old can I bring? How old should a person be before coming to the show? And I said, well, the show's technically PG. It is, we talk about all the details, but we talk about them appropriately. But we do talk about them. So it needs to have someone who's a parent who says, if it's 14, because the thing is, the 14-year-olds know about all sorts of things that are going on, and some of them are doing it.
Yes, and
some
that's
of them are
the
doing
thing.
it.
And to be properly educated as a child to some of the goings on there. And the conversation about the girls. This play, now, is the play in town anytime soon?
The play comes up the weekend of the 23rd through the 25th. It's our 10th anniversary. We've been doing the play for 10 years. And on the 23rd, we have the opening reception. It's in West Hollywood at the Matcha Theater, which is on Kings Road near Santa Monica Boulevard. And the city of West Hollywood has been very, very supportive of us in doing this play. And they've also gifted us 3 hours of validated parking free in the city lot across the street, which is, if you live in LA, parking is.
I'm thinking. So correct me if I'm wrong. Because a lot of young fathers now, and I have to give some credit to some of the young fathers out there, and especially in my African American community, because when I was Mr. Mom, my daughter's 25 now, and I was Mr. Mom, and I was going out when I was taking my kids everywhere I went, and I would see so many women would come up to me and say, "Oh, I wish I saw more and more African American men with their daughters and stuff like that." So, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm only saying that not to pat myself on the back, because I did spend a lot of time with my kids, but I see more and more young men. I can clearly see the change that I'm seeing more and more young men with their daughters and with their son now, and my son included with my grandson. I see how much time they're spending, but.
And it's great.
Is this something that they can come, and I know they can enjoy it, but is this something that young men can come to enjoy
absolutely.
And be educated?
And yeah, I've had all kinds, and I've had men who have said to me, I've learned more about my wife now than I thought that I would know. I've had young men come and go, now. I had 3 young men.
So now I get it.
Who goes, said, we should have taken notes, And
is there a website you have?
Conversations Bout, B-O-U-T without the A, apostrophe, conversations, apostrophe, Bout the Girls.com. And on Facebook, it's Facebook.com/Bout the Girls.
Oh, okay.
And there's pictures, there's videos. We're doing more posts this week. We're going to be doing a lot more posts of some of the clips that we've taken of other shows, and it'll give you an idea of some of the things. That
now, I want to come and see this play.
You should come.
And the thing about it, what I've always done and try to do is support the arts.
Mm-hmm.
I support the arts because I'm a writer, producer myself, but I don't often go.
Would love to have you come. You'd have a great time.
I'm now you got me really, really curious about. Maybe I get a couple of tickets and go to this.
Absolutely.
Go see this.
Maybe we should give a couple of tickets to your audience.
We could do that, and conversation about the girls, and your email me Larry Yates as is LarryYates ASIS Larry Yates as is at AOL.com, and put in a shot for some tickets or something. Shoot me up, and some of you got my phone. I'm not putting my cell phone number back out there again. No. Forget it. I'm just kidding. No one wants to talk to me. But I really, really appreciate you. And when we booked you to come on the show, and I'm always fascinated about how people think and how what the creative juices that's causing certain products to manifest itself, because many people have ideas and they have wonderful ideas, but in order to come up with an idea and then you take that child and incubate it in your brain and in your consciousness and then give birth to the product that's called Conversation About the Girl. I'm always fascinated with that process. So how have the process been for you?
It's always fun. It's always fun. I don't do the producing as well as I'd like to.
Yeah, but the vision of this being here.
But the play of it and all putting it together, it was great having an opportunity to talk to women about their bodies and one of the side benefits that's happened that I wasn't expecting and didn't know was the healing things that take place.
Talk to us about that. That's very important.
Well, we have, like we were saying earlier, there are so many issues that women have about their bodies and about the breasts in particular. And so what happens, because we do have the pieces, there are pieces in here on cancer, and there are pieces from different perspectives about cancer and all of that. But we've had women who've come and you get a chance to sit in the dark and then kind of see your whole life in terms of your body and understand understand from what you see on the stage, what you've already gone through. And then just kind of begin in the dark to sit there and release it. Because we release things in all sorts of different ways and all sorts of different times. And so people have a chance to just heal themselves or recognize, oh, I have an issue about this. And just start to let go of the issue, breathe through it, laugh through it. I have a friend of mine who said, now I can laugh about myself.
And one of the things is I have some experience in being in relationships and being working with women that have battled through breast cancer. And a dear friend of mine, ex-girlfriend of mine that had breast cancer, and to see her go through the breast cancer, and she would talk to me just openly about how she felt, and it was in some aspects of it, the remover of the breast was just as devastating as going through the disease itself.
Yeah.
And that just tore me apart and then I got to see the strength. See, I got to see the strength of women through her, and then over the years, as a patient advocate, I have worked with women with breast cancer, and I, as of this up on this day, I have a patient advocate client / friend that I'm working with now that's going through the whole, where we at the end of over a year of chemotherapy and all this. So she's right at the end of it, and it's so ironic that me sitting here doing this play and you're talking about the breast, and over the last year and a half, it has been a big part of my life in being there to support a very dear friend of mine to whom she's going through breast cancer now. So and it's been and I just appreciate this conversation with you today. I really do.
Thank you. We've had women who have gone through it come to the play. I had a woman in Atlanta who was a part of my cast who had 2 mastectomies.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, at different times.
Oh my goodness.
And then we've had women who they've come and they allow themselves the opportunity to come and to heal and go through it, but then they need to leave right away because everybody's at different stages emotionally to be able to handle it.
So the play does get emotional then.
Oh yeah, we cover the good stuff.
It sounds
and
like
the
you
not so good
cover
stuff.
a spectrum of. You're just a wide range of things that you guys cover, and I just think that it's so important that you. It seemed that I haven't seen the play, but sitting here talking to this young lady, I can tell your audience, if you please support this, because this is the type of thing, when we put the show together, this is the one this is that type of thing that makes us come here in the studio and do this show, because of the awareness that can come behind this. And even if it encouraged more and more women to go and be checked for breast cancer, or to be able to have conversations about the. I have one situation where a friend of mine's daughter was born with uneven breasts, kind of drastically uneven. I don't know if that's the right term for it.
It's actually a condition, and it happens more often than you would think.
That impacts a young lady pretty, because this young girl, I think now she's in her middle to late 20s, and it was really, going through high school was really, really, really tough for her.
Yeah. I don't cover that particular topic. I have had some young ladies who've discussed that with me, but it is because if you can imagine being 13 and you start getting your breasts, they're then not looking like anybody else's. One may be up high, the other may be down low, and they're coming in. And the only way to correct that is surgically often, and they, if they can have it, and some insurance companies consider that to be elective or cosmetic. And here you are, 13 years old or 14 years old, and you're just getting used to your own body, and you go to the doctor and you have a man doing the examination, and you barely are trying to figure out how to do it yourself. Yes. So there's a way. I think what happens with our play often is that people get an opportunity to see what's happening on the other side, and then can just consider, okay, well, maybe if I'm in that kind of a situation at some point in time, I can handle it differently.
You want to give a shout out to some of the play, the people in the play?
We have a wonderful cast. Areli, I have to think of her name because she goes by her maiden name, Areli Aranvia, Jalen Jones, Debbie Carragher, Lindy Scott, Rosie DeCandia, Noemi Torres, Kay Donato, and Valerie Frug, and then myself.
Okay, cast, when I show up there, you guys be nice to me. Be nice to Mr. Yates. I can call myself Mr. Yates. But you know something? You and I talked off air, and you said that you could share some lines from the play for us.
Oh, one of our little pieces.
And because of the sake of time, I told you this time go by so fast. And would you be kind enough to share some of the play? Once again, we are talking about the play Conversation About the Girls. And we have Miss Sonia Jackson in the house, writer and actor in the play, and share some of the points with us.
Okay, so we have a piece called Tell Me About Nipples.
I can't wait. Okay, I'm not going to be politically correct. I just want to hear this.
Tell you about nipples. You want
the
me
engineers, he's cracking up over there. I won't even call. Jarvis is over there cracking up. But go ahead. Let me be the one to say this. Let me say this. Tell me about nipples.
Tell you about nipples. You want me to talk to you about nipples? You can't talk about them. Why? Because they have a mind of their own. You never know what they're going to do. Perfectly nice day. You look nice. Beautiful sweater blouse on. Then someone says to you, cold? And you go, no. You look down, you shake your head, and there they are, fully blown, out at attention, saying hello to the world.
Oh, tell me about nipples. I'm a very shy and innocent guy, but I think I've seen that process happen before. Is it cold out here? No.
No. I give you.
You have another one you want to share with it?
One little quick one. To cleave or not to cleave.
I love this. To cleave or not to cleave.
I really like showing my cleavage. Every time I've exposed it, it's been appreciated. Mostly I've used it for holiday decoration. And if I knew a guy really liked him, I could short-circuit the evening and move things along.
Oh, my goodness. Give us some applause over there. Oh my goodness! Hey, look, you got to check this play out. Once again, conversation about the girls, and it's a. I can say this. It's a conversation about boobs and breasts. I like that part. I think that was David Allen Greer that I heard say that years and years ago, and it just cracked me up. Breasts. I can talk about breasts in a way. And now look, don't nobody call and say I'm blushing. Yeah, because I'm not gonna admit that. But some of the creative lines and I like, you see, the thing about it, I think it's clever. And most of the time, when there are a lot of people that want to come on the show, that I have to turn them down because you have to choose the quality of people that you come on and introduce to your audience, and I like cleverness, and this is very clever, and I really appreciate the thought that went into this and the spirit behind this. And like I said, I keep repeating myself, but it seems that this is a play that both is fun and educational, and it starts the conversation about women's body. And, in the news and in the media and from Playboy to all of these magazines, the woman body is such a magnificent art of God. And so to look at it and have a decent conversation about it, and it's fascinating. I hope I am not stumbling over myself and making a fool out of myself, and I hope I have stayed politically correct, ladies, politically correct, But thank you so much for this. This is and we still got a few more minutes here. So tell us a little bit about now who's producing the show.
I'm producing it in conjunction. My part of my organization is called Visions of Possibilities, a foundation of AIWP. And the West Hollywood Arts Council has supported us, as well as the City of West Hollywood Women's Advisory Board. And it's been really fabulous working with them, because in the City of West Hollywood, they understand all forms of art. They want to express that, and they want people to understand it and get an opportunity to see it and to support it. So they have sculpture gardens in various places. They look at, where do we have a flat surface that we could have an artist come in and do some kind of a rendering on that. They are looking at artists on all different levels.
Now, who are they again? Repeat that again.
The City of West Hollywood, the Arts Council, as well as the Women's Advisory Board. The Women's Advisory Board wants to support projects that support women. Okay. And the Arts Council does projects that support the community in a variety of ways.
We here at the Larry Exercia Show, we also want to be a great supporter of women too. So always refer and send people this way that have something that they want to talk about, subject or product or whatever. But now, are you a native Californian?
No, I was born in the Midwest, but I was raised in California by a strict Midwestern father.
When you say Midwest, what are we talking about here?
I was born in Kansas.
Oh, she was born in Kansas.
Right smack in the middle of the country.
Oh, yeah, you're right there in the middle of the country. Yeah, well, look at the product that comes out of Kansas. See, there's good things comes out of every state here, and you just proved that there's greatness come out of Kansas.
Absolutely.
I am so glad that you come here with the greatness. And I tell you, now, let's say Larry is going to the show. Larry's going to the play. And what is some of the things Larry would take away from this play?
Well, you'll take away a better understanding of women first.
Just hold that thought. Now, talk about something that is greatly needed on my part. I talk to my brothers and my friends, and I would say I talk to my preacher, but I don't have one. I don't have one.
I think you're probably your own preacher.
I look like I'm gonna have to be because the older I get, the more I found out I don't know nothing about women. I'm just pitiful. I mean, I can ask, I could talk to a 9-year-old and he tends to know more about women than I do. It just went completely over my head. But I'm gonna learn. I learn more about women. Oh man, count me in. I'm there. Mm-hmm. Okay, guys, you just heard this. We will learn more about women if we go there. So that's another reason for us to get our butts up and go support this play Conversation About the Girls. Yeah. And that's all we talk about anyway, guys. We lie to each other like we know what we're talking about. So what am I going to learn about women?
You're going to learn some of the things that we've walked through and how we've survived it. You'll learn some of the things that we like, some of the things we don't like.
Oh, wow. Well, now you just, something. I got to take something back. I do know a lot about women. I know what they don't like about me. See, I just turned that around. I know a lot about women. I know a lot of what you don't like about me. I tell you, jeez. But so,
and you may get an insight about something else to consider or to do or to know about. You'll get a better understanding. I think you'll get a look at a glimpse of what really makes women powerful and strong and survivalists, because it happens, the stories, we see a woman, we know her, and we understand various things about her, but in this moment during the play, the concentration of the stories of all the kinds of things that we go through in life are right there. And so it gives an opportunity to really see women in a different light.
Is chivalry dead?
I don't think so.
Yeah?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, see, look how she looked when I asked that question. She said, oh, no, I don't think so.
I have a guy who's real chivalrous. and we like that. And some women don't. That's their prerogative. But
it is.
I think most women do.
I think what I like about the question, not that I'm the one to ask the question, because it's okay if a woman don't like that. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes we guys just don't know, and so we get confused because sometimes we'll hear that women do, women don't. Then we get all nervous and don't know when
should I do it
or when I do it.
Yeah.
And
well, I think
I'm sorry.
I think sometimes it's just a matter of asking if it's at the beginning of a new relationship, and or feeling it out. I know my friends.
Go ahead, real quick.
Like chivalry.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut that off because we're at that. Jarvis, how many? What we got? 1 minute? No, we got 2. We got 2.5. So I apologize for that. But you was talking about asking in the beginning of the relationship. A guy can ask.
I think both sides need to ask if they can do something or ask for what they want. Either way, because men have gone through the ringer with women because we came into to the workforce. There was a way of life, and then we came into the workforce, and when we got into the workforce, we came in like men. We came in working like men instead of working like who we are, letting the femininity of who we are guide us because of that. And because of that, how things transpired between men and women shifted. Yeah,
a lot of the women's movement, and there was some dichotomy there between women's movement, feminist movement, and it's all good. I appreciate everything. One side doesn't fit all.
Right.
And I think what I'm hearing from you, correct me if I'm wrong, is all about the communication.
Absolutely.
And putting a voice to your own needs.
Yeah.
And understanding your partner's need.
Yeah.
And we're going to end the show. So what I'd like to do is, this has been really, really wonderful. I'm having so much fun with this. So just to say goodbye, give us some words of wisdom to say goodbye to the audience. Give the audience some words of wisdom.
I guess I would always say to be who you are and allow others to be who they are. and to just be aware of that, what you need, and ask for it, and just allow yourself to soar. Because nothing's more important than that you feel good. And if you don't feel good, there's just something out of alignment.
I appreciate that. Well, what I'm going to say is, if we can have a vagina monologue and a titty conversation, and keep it clean and respectful, and learn more about the spirit and the power of the women that we've been so blessed with on this planet. And they come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and the whole array of the rainbow. And women are truly, truly the future of civilization as I see it. Anyway, remember, a nation can rise no higher than it elevates its woman. Thank you. This is Larry Yates. See you next week.
Now let me welcome everybody.